Welcome. Today, we're going to break down a really wild story, how a totally routine software update from a company we all know went so wrong that it literally locked people out of their own computers.
I mean, just picture it for a second. You show up to work, you've got your coffee, you sit down, you go to log into your computer, and nothing. Your password doesn't work, you're just locked out. No access to the network, no files, nothing.
Well, for a whole bunch of IT teams managing HP business computers, this exact nightmare scenario just became their Monday morning. Suddenly, users couldn't log in, they couldn't get to any of their work, and everything just stopped. And the crazy part? The culprit wasn't some virus or a password mix-up. Nope, it was something way sneakier.
All right, so let's get into our first section here. An update locks the door. We're about to see how a simple little software push turned into a digital locksmith, locking out the very people it was supposed to be helping.
So, where did this all start? Well, it began with one of those silent updates, the kind that just happens in the background that you never even think about. HP, a name everyone trusts, was pushing out an update to its AI PCs for their business customers. And, it was supposed to be a good thing, an improvement.
The software at the very heart of this mess is called HP One Agent, and its entire job is to be this helpful manager in the background, handling updates to keep everything secure and running just right. The irony here is just, wow. The one tool designed for perfect system maintenance is the very thing that caused this massive system failure.
So that brings us to Section 2, the case of the cleanup script. How did a super simple task go so horribly wrong? To really get what happened, we kind of have to pop the hood on this update and find the exact little piece of code that went rogue.
And here it is. The problem was tracked down to this very specific version of the software. For any of you IT admins out there, that's the number you got to look for. See, tucked away inside this version was a tiny script with what seemed like a totally harmless job. And this is the key. The script was just supposed to do a little digital housekeeping. That's it. Find and delete some leftover files from an older, related piece of software. Simple, clean, totally routine. Or so everyone thought.
And this quote just says it all, doesn't it? It perfectly sums up the problem. The script didn't just clean up the files it was told to. Oh no, it got a little too excited and started deleting things it absolutely should have left alone. Okay, Section 3, a single crucial certificate. This is the one file that should never have been touched. So what exactly did this aggressive script get rid of that caused all this damage? Well, it all boils down to one single, tiny, but absolutely vital file.
Now, before we go any further, let's just quickly explain what a digital certificate is. The absolute easiest way to think about it is like a digital ID badge for your laptop. It's what proves to your company's network that your device is legit and is allowed to be there, giving you access to all your files and emails. No badge, no entry. Simple as that.
And right here, this is the fatal flaw. The cleanup script was looking for stuff related to that old 1E tool. So it was programmed with a really simple, but as it turns out, a tragically broad command. Delete any certificate that has 1E anywhere in its name. And here is the devastating 1 in a million coincidence. A critical Microsoft certificate, the one that acts as that digital ID badge to connect to corporate networks, is called MS Organization Access. And if you look really close, you see the problem. The letters ONE are right there. The script saw 1E, and poof, it deleted it. No questions asked. So you can really see the cause and effect laid out here. It's so clear. On the left, before the script, the certificate is there, everything's fine, the computer connects, the user logs in, they get their files. But on the right, after that script runs and deletes the certificate, that digital ID badge is just gone. The connection fails, and the user is completely, totally locked out.
Which, of course, brings us to Section 4, HP's scramble for a fix. Once those reports of locked-out users started pouring in, HP knew it had a serious crisis on its hands, and they had to move fast. So let's look at what they did to contain the damage.
Their response was pretty systematic. First, pull. They yanked the bad update right away to stop any more computers from getting hit. Then, confirm. They owned the problem and started talking to IT departments to figure it out. Next, restore, which meant working with them to reissue all those deleted digital certificates. And finally, pause. They wisely put a stop to all other updates until they knew for sure this mess was cleaned up.
And that brings us to our final section, the fragility of our tech. So what's the big lesson here? What can we take away from all this? Because this incident is so much more than just a tech glitch. It's a huge reminder of just how delicate these systems we rely on every single day really are.
This quote really just nails it. Our systems are so complex, so interconnected, and all it took was one line of code, one overly simple command in a background script to bring entire businesses to a grinding halt. It really shows you just how fragile things can be.
And what's so important to remember is that this wasn't a cyber attack. It wasn't some evil hacker trying to cause chaos. It was just an honest-to-goodness mistake, a human error in the code. And that's a powerful lesson. Threats to our digital world don't always come from the bad guys. Sometimes they come from the very tools that are designed to protect us. So, for any of you out there in businesses that use HP devices, the source material gives this very clear advice. First, check and see if your system's got this specific update. Second, verify that all your devices are authenticating correctly. And third, if you see any login issues at all, get on the phone with HP support immediately.
And all of this leaves us with one last big thought to chew on. We live in a world that runs on countless silent automatic updates. But when one flawed script, one simple mistake, can take down an entire workforce, who's ultimately responsible for the code we put all our trust in? Thanks for joining me for this one.